This video is on the sandwich generation. We use the term sandwich because we're going to describe what we're going to call multi-layered responsibilities. Like in a sandwich, you have different layers. You may have the food in the middle and you have the bread on both sides. You may have a club sandwich and have more layers to the sandwich. And we use that analogy because we're going to be describing families that have a number of layers of responsibilities. Let me try to describe what this might look like hypothetically. You have a, say, 35-year-old couple, and they have children, say, 5 to 10 years old. They have one layer of responsibility, and that is raising and taking care of these children. We know that's going to be a financial responsibility, an emotional responsibility, time, etc. Now, families who have children are prepared for these responsibilities and prepared for what it takes to assume and to fulfill them. But these families may not be prepared for the other responsibilities they're going to have layered on top of this, and this is where the sandwich analogy comes in. For instance, many of these families may have parents in their 60s or older, and quite possible they have grandparents 80, 85 or older. In fact, the 85-year-old age group is one of the fastest growing age groups in the United States. So here's what we might run into. You might run into a family, say in their 30s, who are raising and taking care of their children, but their parents who are in their 60s may need help. They might have trouble getting around. They may be disabled. It might be that maybe one of the parents is disabled and they're using a wheelchair, or the parents may be on oxygen, etc. They may have various illnesses. They may have diabetes. They may have heart disease. They may have cancer. They may have other diseases that impair their ability to function, and they need their children in their 30s to help. And then you may also have another layer, I'll call it the club sandwich, of grandparents in their 80s who may also suffer various disabilities that might keep them from being able to function, to shop, to cook, to clean, to do a number of other tasks. So now what we get is this multi-layered responsibility where families are not only raising their own children, but also having to take care of their parents and their grandparents because they need help. And they may need help shopping, cleaning, cooking, going to the doctors, fixing food. And this puts a lot of stress on the family. And this is an important topic because Americans are living longer today. More and more people are living to the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And this means we have an aging population. And if that aging population is not healthy, that aging population is going to need their children and their grandchildren to take care of them. And this creates a lot of stress and a lot of problems within families. Like in my own family, my parents had to move in with us for a short while, and they would go to bed early at night, 7:30 or 8, they're going to bed. 7:30 or 8, I'm still up, wide awake listening to Pink Floyd, That was bothering them. They get up at 4:30 in the morning to go eat. I'm not getting up at 4:30 in the morning. You run into this. In many cases, if parents or grandparents have to move in because they can't live on their own, the families may not have enough room in the family. That's going to put emotional stress on the family because they don't have enough room, enough bathrooms, enough bedrooms. They may have to move the children into a bedroom together. Financially, it means they have to buy more food. They might have to hire a caregiver. Many things could occur. And these put a lot of stress on the family. And this adds up to responsibilities that many families were not prepared for, Like my mom, after my father passed away, ended up moving in with my oldest brother in Florida. And one of the habits that she had, apparently she was worried about burglars. So whenever my brother and his wife left to go out and get a bite to eat or to visit friends, my mom, being afraid of burglars, would turn out the lights, but she'd take out all the light bulbs because I reckon she was afraid if a burglar came in, the burglar might turn the lights on. So her idea was, I'll take the light bulbs out. So my poor brother comes home at night from, visiting friends or dining out, and the light bulbs are all gone. He goes to turn the light bulbs on, there's no lights. And then he asked my mom, where are the light bulbs? And she forgot where she put them, So he had to take a light bulb with him when he went out. Yeah, take a light bulb with him when he went out because he didn't know what she was going to do. Sometimes she didn't take the light bulbs out. Sometimes she did, My brother even got upset with me when for Christmas I gave him a big package of light bulbs as a present. That's my little joke on him. He didn't like it. But it just shows in many different ways. This is just light bulbs. That's a simple one. That this puts stress on families. Now, who's more likely to have to take care of these aging parents and grandparents? The woman. Yeah. In this unit, we're talking about gender roles. Remember the traditional gender role. The woman is encouraged to be nurturing and a caregiver. And very often, women assume the responsibilities of taking care of the aging parents and grandparents. So that puts another stress on women today. And remember, earlier in one of the other videos, we talked about the mother versus the work role. So we have a situation in which families today, more and more families today and in the future, are going to have these multiple responsibilities, taking care of their children, possibly taking care of their parents and their grandparents. Now, how might we deal with this? One way to deal with this is something called compressed morbidity. What does compressed morbidity look like? Many years ago, I read a book, and the book was called Brave New World. And in this book, which was like a futuristic society, and it talked about many things that actually have come true. The book was written, I think, in the 1960s, and the author was very, very on track. He really predicted many things that happened, including genetic advances. And in this book, babies were created in test tubes, and they were genetically engineered. Everybody was genetically engineered to stay absolutely healthy until they reached the age of 65, and then wham, they died immediately. When I read it at first, I thought, that's weird. You're healthy until 65, 64.99, and at 65, kaput, you're gone, you're dead. And I thought that was strange at first, and then afterwards I said, it's not bad to live your life and then be healthy till you die. Now, I might want to make it longer than 65, but still, the idea is not bad. And that's actually what compressed morbidity is. Compressed morbidity means this, okay? Limiting the period an aging person is infirm or ill. Let me repeat it. Compressed morbidity means limiting the period of time an aging person is infirm or ill. And if we can limit the time our aging population is infirm, that means they can't get around, they can't do things, or ill, they're sick and they need to be taken care of, etc. We can limit that time and basically keep people healthy pretty much until they die, then that would cut down with a lot of the problems and issues of the sandwich generation. Now, here's the simple question. How can we promote compressed morbidity? Is there something that we can do now in our own lives so that when we get older, we are less likely to be sick and to be infirm? And the answer is easy. Everybody out there knows it. Been said for years. Diet, right? The American diet is really not a good diet. High fat, high sugar, not a good diet. Not a very healthy diet. This has been documented over and over and over again in terms of the American diet. Exercise. We need to get enough exercise. We need to. When we look at exercise and diet, we know that they're tied to diabetes, a serious disease in our society, heart disease, cancer, stroke, you name it, okay? Exercise, diet, and avoiding certain behaviors that might create a problem. And those behaviors that might create a problem would be excessive use of alcohol, tobacco, and other things like that. So again, the key is diet, exercise, avoiding tobacco at all costs, excessive use of alcohol, etc. So this is the sandwich generation. The idea that families are going to have multiple obligations and that women are going to assume a lot of the responsibilities, and that in order to reduce the possibility, we aim for compressed morbidity. And this compressed morbidity will help us stay healthier and avoid the problems. And I do apologize for the phone call, but that happens when you're doing videos. Plus, it probably woke you up if you were sleeping during the video. See you later.